The legend of El Dorado is the story of a fabled city of gold that is said to have existed somewhere in South America during the colonial era. The legend has inspired countless expeditions in search of this mythical city, but its existence remains a mystery. The mythical story of El Dorado. The origins of the legend of El Dorado can be traced back to the indigenous people of Colombia and Venezuela, who had a ritual that involved their leader covering himself in gold dust and diving into Lake Guatavita. When the Spanish conquistadors arrived in the region in the 16th century, they heard rumors of a city of gold that was said to be located somewhere in the interior of South America. These rumors were likely based on the stories of the Muisca ritual, which the conquistadors interpreted as evidence of a vast hoard of gold. Over time, the legend of El Dorado grew and evolved, becoming a symbol of the human desire for wealth and adventure. The idea of a city made entirely of gold captured the imagination of people around the world and inspired countless stories and myths. The predicted story of El Dorado. The search for El Dorado also became a symbol of the European conquest of the Americas. The conquistadors saw it as a way to get rich quickly, and they launched countless expeditions in search of this legendary city. However, the search for El Dorado was often driven by greed and a desire for power, and it resulted in the destruction of indigenous cultures and the exploitation of natural resources. The haunted story of El Dorado. The search for El Dorado was not without its dangers. Many expeditions were beset by disease, starvation, and attacks by indigenous tribes. The jungle and mountains of South America were also home to dangerous animals and unforgiving terrain. Some stories even tell of supernatural forces that haunted the search for El Dorado, such as the legendary lost city of Z in Brazil, which was said to be guarded by deadly spirits. The origins of the legend. The legend of El Dorado can be traced back to the indigenous people of Colombia and Venezuela. According to their traditions, the Muisca people of central Colombia had a ritual that involved their leader, or Zipa, covering himself in gold dust and then diving into Lake Guatavita. The gold was believed to represent the sun, and the Zipa's immersion was a symbolic renewal of the land's fertility. When the Spanish conquistadors arrived in the region in the 16th century, they heard rumors of a city of gold that was said to be located somewhere in the interior of South America. These rumors were likely based on the stories of the Muisca ritual, which the conquistadors interpreted as evidence of a vast hoard of gold. The search for El Dorado. The legend of El Dorado quickly became a fixation for the Spanish conquistadors, who saw it as a way to get rich quickly. They launched countless expeditions into the jungles and mountains of South America in search of this legendary city, but none were successful. One of the most famous expeditions was led by Gonzalo Pizarro, the brother of the conquistador Francisco Pizarro, who had conquered the Incan Empire in Peru. In 1541, Gonzalo set out from Quito, Ecuador with a force of several hundred men in search of El Dorado. The expedition lasted for 2 years and covered thousands of miles, but they found no gold and suffered from starvation, disease, and attacks by indigenous tribes. Another famous expedition was led by Sir Walter Raleigh, an English explorer who traveled to South America in 1595 in search of El Dorado. He explored the Orinoco River in what is now Venezuela, but he found no gold, and his expedition ended in disaster when his son was killed in a skirmish with the Spanish. The legend spreads. Despite the failure of these expeditions, the legend of El Dorado continued to spread throughout Europe and the Americas. The idea of a city made entirely of gold captured the imagination of people around the world and became a symbol of wealth and prosperity. In the 19th century, the legend of El Dorado was revived by the Romantic movement, which saw it as a symbol of the power of nature and the human spirit. Writers such as Edgar Allan Poe, Herman Melville, and Sir Arthur Conan Doyle all wrote stories inspired by the legend of El Dorado. The search continues. Even today, the legend of El Dorado continues to capture the imagination of people around the world. In recent years, modern-day adventurers have launched expeditions in search of the city, using modern technology such as drones and satellite imagery to explore remote areas of South America. While it is unlikely that the city of El Dorado ever existed, the legend has become a powerful symbol of the human desire for wealth and adventure. It has inspired countless stories, myths, and legends, and it continues to capture the imagination of people around the world. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to this channel. Please like, comment, and share this video. See you in the next one.